Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. This is Dr. R. Balasashireka, Assistant Professor, Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Avinashlingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Today we are going to see the module on macronutrients, chronic energy deficiency and obesity. The world today is facing two extremes, with one end of the spectrum being undernutrition and the other end being obese. For decades, the nutritional status of children and adults were assessed using anthropometric measurements like height and weight. Body mass index became the focus of attention for assessing the food situation and nutritional well-being of a community among adults. Body mass index is a preferred index for chronic energy deficiency and obesity and is a reflection of body energy stores. Body mass index is a responsive index sensitive to changes in nutritional status which are influenced by socio-economic status, seasonal changes in food availability and demands on activity. Functional consequences of low BMI, that is chronic energy deficiency in adults, is associated with low physiological work performance. On completing the session, the learner will be able to know the indicators of chronic energy deficiency and obesity, causes underlying the conditions, pathophysiology and clinical symptoms of the conditions, therapy to overcome and manage the twin condition CED and obesity. First, we will look into chronic energy deficiency. Chronic energy deficiency is a nutritional deficiency and affects particularly children and is man-made. In many countries, bulk of the budget goes towards nutritional supplementation for children. Providing food may improve the nutritional status and well-being of the children. Chronic energy deficiency, abbreviated as CED, may be defined as the intake of energy less than the requirement for a period of several months to years. Chronic energy deficiency and child malnutrition are as due to intake deficiency. Kerala, for example, has been the lowest energy consuming state of India during the last 3 decades and has the lowest incidence of chronic energy deficiency and child malnutrition. There is a perverse correlation between the incidence of malnourishment and calorie intake, incidence of calorie deficit, calorie gap, calorie severity across Indian states. Chronic energy deficiency in children leads to wasting. Slow growth is due to continued CED and the children become stunted. If the energy intake is too low, which is not sufficient even to meet out the requirements of the stunted children, wasting occurs and the cycle continues. The figure below represents the normal, wasted and stunted children. Indices of chronic energy deficiency. The body mass index is one of the indicators of chronic energy deficiency and the classification as given by Gomez is given in the table. The chronic energy deficiency is classified into grade 1, 2 and 3 based on the body mass index. Grade 1 CED falls between BMI 17 to 18.4, Grade 2 chronic energy deficiency with BMI between 16 to 16.9 and Grade 3 chronic energy deficiency with BMI less than 16. The normal weight is BMI 18.5 to 24.9. Wasting is one of the primary indicators of chronic energy deficiency. Measures include mid-upper arm circumference, abbreviated as MUAC, in relation to height, MUAC with head circumference, tricep skin fold and mid-upper arm circumference. The mean height, weight, mid-upper arm circumference and head circumference are expressed in terms of percentage with reference to age. Weight for age is an age-independent index of wasting. Causes of undernutrition. Wasting. Wasting is an indicator of chronic energy deficiency. Acute weight loss may be due to sudden fall in body's food supply or increased demands. It may also be due to enormous loss of energy, nutrients or water due to any illness. The next cause is poverty. The purchasing power of an individual is reduced to the poor economic conditions. So, the poorer sections of the community eat less food. In due course of time, it may lead to deficiency conditions. Also, they tend to eat cheaper foods and foods without nutritive value. Poverty, along with illiteracy, poor sanitation, poor personal hygiene, no access to medical services, poor agricultural practices, overpopulation, inefficient use of available resources adds fuel to the condition of chronic energy deficiency among the society. The figure depicted below well explains the vicious cycle of poverty and no schooling, which leads to diseases, infections, no energy and skills to work. This in turn leads to low productivity. Low productivity leads to low or no income, therefore low self-esteem, no personal control, high childbirth, sick elderly, more dependence. So the cycle goes on like this. Next, ignorance. Inadequate knowledge about the kind and amount of food to be consumed is one of the primary causes of inadequate food intake. The nutritional needs and growth requirements of children, adolescents, special conditions like pregnancy and lactation all lead to chronic energy deficiency. Low birth weight. Maternal undernutrition, infection, adolescent pregnancy, repeated pregnancy, toxemia of pregnancy, premature delivery lead to low birth weight children. Poor hygienic conditions. Rearing child in dirty, overcrowded environment contaminates with pathogenic microorganisms and leads to infectious diseases. Breastfed children are protected from gastrointestinal infections. The immunoglobulins present in human milk inhibit bacterial growth and produces antibodies to specific pathogens they are exposed to. Bottle-fed children lack anti-infective properties and is more prone to infection. Next one is food security. Due to the developing technology, the food production must increase several fold. Increased food production increases food consumption. Even distribution of food among and within the countries will cure the basic problem of hunger and malnutrition according to physiological needs. But it is not so. Household food security is not attained. Though abundant food is available in the market, poor families cannot afford and food secured. Economic status of the families determines the food security. Economic crisis adversely affect the health and nutrition status. Cultural influences. Starvation is also a leading cause of chronic energy deficiency. Choosing poor diet when quality diet is available because of cultural influences varies widely with region to region and from country to country. Traditional beliefs and attitudes. Family plays an important role in shaping the food and eating habits of the individual. These are also carried from generations to another. Many customs also apply these to vulnerable groups. Certain combinations of foods are also avoided in certain families. Coming to the clinical characteristics. The chronic energy deficient children can be easily identified by the society. The clinical symptoms include mood abnormality, lingering depression, decreased appetite, edema, symmetrical swelling over the lower cheeks, condition of the eyes that is straightforward, growth failure due to hemoglobinopathies such as sickle cell anemia, hepatomegaly or enlarged liver due to the accumulation of fat, abdominal distension associated with small bowel overgrowth, skin lesions, crazy pavement dermatosis, flaky paint desquamation, hypopigmented skin, stomatitis, fine silky lanugo hair over shoulders and periphery of the face, eyelashes are curved, long and silky, sunken eyes, bite-out spots, bossing of the forehead, bowing of legs, periodontal bleeding, mental regression, gross motor development is lagged, pica eating, infection, vomiting with rumination, anorexia, varied frequency and consistency of stools, foul smelling stools with flatus, blood stools due to infections. Coming to the management of chronic energy deficiency. How it should be managed? Yes, intake of healthy balanced diet to meet the recommended dietary allowances for macronutrients and micronutrients. Increased intake of energy and protein with no extra cost until the catch-up growth is attained. Increased intake of protein and protein concentrated foods. Increase the fruit and vegetable intake. Management to prevent chronic energy deficiency. Nutrition education program to mothers, women and children. Ensure that the public is well informed about the dietary improvement and promote healthy eating habits. Now, coming to the other extreme faced by the society is obesity. Obesity, a complex multifactorial chronic disease, is a risk factor for many diseases and health problems. Several factors predispose to obesity, including diet pattern, lifestyle, genetic predisposition, medications, genetic disorder, and many other, including gut microorganisms of the intestine. Weight loss management includes changes in eating behavior, lifestyle modifications along with behavioral changes. Weight loss surgery is also prescribed as one of the medications. Obesity has been defined as a body mass index greater than 30 kg per meter square or excessive amount of body fat for a given height. The International Classification of BMI for adults as given by Gomez is given below. The normal weight is between 18.5 to 24.9. For overweight, the BMI is between 25 to 29.9. Class 1 obesity, the BMI falls between 30 to 34.9. Class 2 obesity, the BMI being between 35 to 39.9, and Class 3 obesity, the BMI being greater than or equal to 40. In few cases, the body mass index becomes a false indicator when the individual has higher muscle percentage and lower fat percentage, particularly in women. BMI is plotted on Centers for Disease Control and Prevention BMI for age growth chart for children and teens to obtain percentile ranking. Coming to the pathogenesis of obesity. When the consumption of energy is greater than the requirement, it leads to obesity. The fat cells enlarge due to storage of energy. Hypertrophy occurs prior to hyperplasia. As the obesity progresses, hypertrophy helps to meet out the need for additional fat storage capacity. The mass of cell size can be used to estimate the total cell number within a fat pad, and secretion of insulin resistance and adipokine is enhanced. Now, let me look into the influencing factors affecting obesity. Number 1 is social and behavioral influences. Social and economic changes during the past decades have resulted in toxic environment, increased portion size, proliferation of commercially available foods, mushrooming of fast food restaurants, low-cost fast foods, access to energy-dense foods in schools, reduced physical activity due to modern machineries and equipments are responsible for increased prevalence of obesity. Lower socio-economic status is directly proportional to incidence of obesity. Social facilitation also influences obesity. Social facilitation of eating prolongs eating time and thereby increases energy intake. Bite size is influenced by ingestion rate, satiation, and meal size. Electronic devices with screens like television, computers, video games, tablets, etc. predispose to obesity. This may be due to the sedentary behavior, spending less time in physical activity. Food advertisements exposed to consumption of energy snacks and chat items. Mindful eating must be practiced by such individuals. Imbalance in adiposity signals to brain may contribute to the development of associated comorbidities. The second cause is due to hormones. Energy metabolism and appetite is regulated by a series of hormones and include insulin, glucagon, adipokines, etc. Energy balance, food intake, stimulation of adipogenesis, and weight gain are influenced by a peptide hormone, ghrelin, from the stomach. Ghrelin increases food intake in lean, obese, malnourished, and normal healthy individuals by creating hunger. Gastric emptying is delayed and gastric secretion is reduced by the secretion of peptide YY and signals the hypothalamus. It is secreted by the L cells of the distal small bowel and colon. If peptide YY is triggered before meals, food consumption will be reduced. Gastric emptying and gut motility is also controlled by cholecystokinin produced in the gallbladder, pancreas and stomach and concentrated in the small intestine. Cholecystokinin thus increases the satiety. Next, glucagon-like peptide 1 secreted from the intestinal L cells increases satiety intravenously. Adipokines secrete tumor necrosis factor alpha, abbreviated as TNF-alpha, interleukin 6, IL-6, leptin, resistin, and adiponectin. In obese subjects, due to elevated levels of TNF-alpha and IL-6, there is increased circulation of free fatty acids. Leptin from fat cells bind to specific receptors of the appetite, modulating neuron and hypothalamus when transported across blood-brain barrier and inhibits the appetite. Adiponectin, derived from adipose tissue, reduces the metabolism. The following table gives the role of hormones on obesity pathogenesis.
The role of ghrelin hormone is regulation of energy balance and weight gain. Peptide YY reduces the food intake. Cholecystokinin increases satiety. Glucagon-like peptide 1 increases satiety intravenously. Leptin inhibits the appetite. Adiponectin reduces the metabolism.
The third cause is due to genes. Based on individual metabolic makeup and lifestyle behaviors, different responses are obtained. Studies have shown that 24 genetic mutations play a role in the development of obesity. Lipolysis occurs due to the mutation in B3 receptor of adipose tissue and increases the obesity risk. Ethnic differences also influence the metabolic rate. Prenatal and postnatal influences. Body size, shape, and composition of the offspring is highly influenced by the mother's diet during pregnancy. Gestational weight gain is an important factor for childhood obesity. The amount of weight gain influences the growth and health of the fetus, and this influence in later growth stages of the individual. Breastfeeding is also associated with lower risk of obesity when compared with formula feeding. Age of onset of obesity and family history also predisposes to obesity. They are at double the risk of obesity if their parents are obese. Maternal smoking increases the risk of obesity in younger ones. Coming to the role of gut microbiota. Human body contains 10 power 4 microorganisms residing in different parts of the body. Gastrointestinal tract being the largest pool, and others include genitourinary and respiratory tract. Colon has the highest density with 10 power 12 microorganisms. Majority of the bacteria present in the gastrointestinal tract have beneficial effect to human health. It helps in the gut maturation, host nutrition and health, and pathogen resistance. In each part of the GI tract, the number of microorganisms and the chemical environment varies. On aging, the count of bifidobacteria decreases and fungi and enterobacteria increases and is correlated with suboptimal immunity. The most dominant microorganism in lean and obese individuals is firmicutes. The intestinal microbiota from the diet extracts and store energy and play a role in weight gain leading to obesity. If there is imbalance in gut microbiota, it may lead to atherosclerosis, body weight gain by increasing the plasma lipopolysaccharide. The role of dietary supplements in obesity. The Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act defined dietary supplements as a product containing one or more of a vitamin, mineral, amino acid, herb, other botanical, concentrate, metabolite, constituent or extract. Furthermore, place dietary supplement in a distinct category from drugs. New Good Food Manufacturing Practices emphasizes dietary supplements to be clearly labeled, adulterant-free, manufactured according to specified standards for personnel and equipment. According to the mechanism of action, many dietary supplements are used. Few of the dietary supplements are guarana, that is, caffeine helps in increasing energy expenditure. Chromium, ginseng modulates carbohydrate metabolism. Green tea, vitamin B5 and pyruvate increases fat oxidation or reduces fat synthesis. Psyllium increases satiety. Chitosan blocks dietary fat absorption. Studies on these lines are still in progress. No strong evidences are proved for the action of these dietary supplements. Therapy for weight management. The universal goal for management of obesity is a combination of diet, exercise and lifestyle modification. Few undergo bariatric surgery. Weight management therapy is a challenging illness and includes the degree of obesity and individual's cooperation and preference. First goal should be keeping the body weight stable without increasing. A 5 to 7% weight loss is initially recommended. This also helps to reduce the risk factors of cardiovascular diseases, hypertension, dyslipidemia, stroke, gallbladder diseases, osteoarthritis and diabetes mellitus. Weight loss is directly dependent on the individual's energy requirement, energy intake and energy expenditure. Initially, weight loss can be achieved by reducing the calorie intake than the expenditure and is also dependent on the body composition. It is also influenced by other factors such as age, gender, genetic factors, income, socio-economic status, lifestyle, psychological stress, hormonal imbalance, disease conditions, metabolic disorders, etc. Conventional weight loss diets. The conventional weight loss diets are: number 1, high protein, low carbohydrate diet. The obesity may be due to low fat, high carbohydrate diet. It also depends on the type of carbohydrate, high sugar containing beverages, energy dense snacks, etc. Short-term weight loss can be attained by consuming low, that is 60 to 130 grams, or very low, less than 60 grams of carbohydrate in the diet. This leads to glycogen mobilization. Initially, weight loss occurs due to fluid loss. Due to low glucose concentration, concentration of insulin is also reduced. So, lipolysis occurs instead of lipogenesis. This carbohydrate shift can be achieved on consuming a diet that contains 20 to 50 grams per day. This diet is more effective than low-fat diet for short-term weight loss. Number 2 is Atkins diet, which is followed for 2 weeks. In phase 1, 20 grams of carbohydrates, particularly from plant sources, must be consumed per day. In phase 2, during the first week, 25 grams of other carbohydrate sources, including fiber-rich foods, are consumed. The carbohydrate content is increased from 20 to 25 grams each week. Once the weight loss stops, 5 grams of carbohydrates is taken from the diet intake until the weight loss begins. In phase 3, that is pre-maintenance phase, the individual attains the goal. The carbohydrate is increased by 10 grams until the weight loss is gradual and continued until weight loss stops. In phase 4, that is life maintenance phase, on careful observance of the body weight, a wide range of carbohydrate foods are included steadily. Number 3 is Dukan diet. The diet includes unlimited consumption of 100 foods, of which 72 and 28 are from animal and plant sources respectively, along with an exercise module. The goal of phase 1 is to reduce 3 to 4 kg of weight by 10 days. Unlimited amounts of low protein foods along with only carbohydrate of oat bran are consumed. Oat bran has less carbohydrate and swells up to 20 times once it reaches the stomach and creates satiety. Ketosis is prevented by consuming larger quantities of cheese. In phase 2, the target weight gain is achieved by taking unlimited quantities of 28 kinds of vegetables with no fruits. Starchy vegetables are avoided. Every other day, lean protein and vegetables are alternated. In phase 3, unlimited quantities of protein and vegetables along with low sugar fruit is taken to sustain the weight loss. Cheese and whole grain bread is also included. 1 to 2 servings of starch foods and 1 to 2 open meals is permitted per week. This helps in the lipolysis instead of lipogenesis. In phase 4, inclusion of 1 all protein day per week, 3 tablespoons of oat bran per day, along with exercise for 20 minutes of walking, long-term goal is followed. The next diet is South Beach diet. It is also known as modified low carbohydrate diet. In phase 1, which is for a period of 2 weeks, all carbohydrates are cut down with elimination of food cravings. Lean protein, high fiber vegetables, low fat dairy products, unsaturated fats are the focused foods. The long-term weight loss of phase 2, that is, foods that was restricted in phase 1, are reintroduced until the goal is reached. The maintenance phase 3, along with diet, lifestyle principles are followed with occasional deviations. So, we can conclude that chronic energy deficiency and obesity are two extreme conditions prevailing in the society. Nutrition plays an important role in the causation and curation of a chronic disease. Therefore, dietary change is essential to reverse the high prevalence of the conditions. The interaction of the influencing factors also play a vital role in determining and achieving the dietary changes. Lifestyle changes along with promotion of physical activity are required to brace the dietary adjustments. The guidelines established by the national and international bodies followed at right time propose change in the community at large. The consensus on change recommends either increase or decrease in fat, protein, carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables. Health promotion thus involves joining hands between the community and drivers in the food system in the process of educating, empowering and bringing change. Thank you.